Hey everyone, Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to do a video today. I just wanted to answer a question. Somebody had just sent me a question, actually this morning. It's by a YouTube user named Stur, S-T-U-R. Hi, Professor. Thank you for sharing your knowledge of Jiu-Jitsu. I'm in the New York City area, the borough of Queens to be exact. We have an abundance of sport Jiu-Jitsu academies in New York. And it's unfortunate that most of the people that train Jiu-Jitsu here, they have no idea about the self-defense aspect of Jiu-Jitsu. They compete in a few tournaments and think they are well-rounded. I'm surprised at how few or little traditional Jiu-Jitsu academies there are here. Do you know of any traditional Jiu-Jitsu schools in New York? I figured there has to be some here. In my search, I did not find, but you... or someone that reads this thread could possibly refer me to one. Thanks. You know, having just come from a tournament where I had a couple teenagers, and a couple kids, and a couple adults compete in, you know, it's amazing how Jiu-Jitsu has morphed. And one of the things that many of you know about my feeling of this, you know, we do compete in competitions. I mean, it's fun, you know, it's fun when you're not getting robbed by the refs. Let me just put it that way. But, you know, for instance, right, their whole thing about 3 seconds to mount, you got to hold it for 3 seconds. You know, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know, they'll have, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And then other times, as soon as the knee touches, boom, 4 points, right? It's very inconsistent. But anyway, I digress. But, you know, that's the thing about competition. You know, it's fun, except when it doesn't go your way, which is why I always tell my competitors, don't leave it in the hands of the ref or the judges. You know, just go ahead and submit them, which actually came to be in one of the tournaments with the adults. It was you know, like a Masters 2 or Masters 3 level blue belt tournament. And there were only 3 competitors, but competitor 1 beat competitor 2, competitor 2 beat competitor 3, competitor 3 beat competitor 1. So they each beat somebody, right? And they each went twice. They each had 1 win and 1 loss. And it turned out that our guy, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu guy, was ranked 2nd out of the 3. So he was going to get the silver medal out of 3, right? And, you know, it's another thing about medals, not a big thing, because, look, 3 guys compete, 3 guys going to get a medal. So, you know, even the last place guy says, oh, yeah, I got a bronze medal at the XXY, you know, XYZ tournament, right? It's like, yeah, big deal. There are only 3 of you. You're guaranteed to get a medal, right? But what happened was, since they each beat each other, our guy ended up ranked number 2. So I asked the judges, you know, how was that so? You know, the funny thing is, though, you know, and this has always been a problem in Jiu-Jitsu, you know, if you got judges and you got refs, you know, they're all speaking Portuguese, right? In the U.S., right? And, you know, I know they speak English, right? But still, they're all going back and forth in Portuguese. So me, as an American judge, I have no idea what they're saying, right? All I can do is I can kind of look at, you know, mannerisms and, you know, how animated somebody is and nodding of heads. You know, I just got to kind of look at body language signals. And I'm pretty good at watching body language, but, you know, I obviously can't, you know, figure a foreign language out that way. But, you know, that's one problem I have. But what happened was they ranked my guy 2nd. And I asked why. And they said because of the points. And granted, you know, when my guy did lose the match that he lost like 15 to something, right? It was a big loss. You know, probably a good, you know, 10-point difference, like 15-5 or something like that. And I go, okay, so they're adding up points. So because of that, the guy who they ranked at 1st place had racked up the most points, and he won. So then I come back and I ask, you know, so the other coach, he's happy, right? He's like, yeah, you know, my guy got 1st place. So then I go, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. I go, I see why you're doing that. I go, why is my guy number 2? Well, because of points. And I go, but my guy submitted his guy. And then you hear more Portuguese going back and forth. And then, oh, yeah, and then they have to scratch it all out and put KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu guy on top, right? Because he's the only one of the 3 in his win that submitted somebody, right? The submission is what matters. Now, here's another scenario. I have a teenager, 16 years old. She can compete either youth or adult female. She ends up competing adult female. And she's been training 8-9 months, right? But she's good enough to compete in white belt female. And she goes up against this one woman who was really good, 2 years plus, 4-stripe white belt, and my girl has no stripes on her belt. But anyway, I would show footage of it, but I can't because she's 16, so I'm not gonna. But anyway, this girl goes and locks a full triangle on my competitor. Now, granted, she shouldn't have been there in the first place, right? You stick your arm out like that, you're gonna get caught. Anyway, she gets locked on full triangle, but she doesn't tap. It's not that she was in danger. She just didn't tap because she knew that the woman, 2-year white belt, didn't have it. I mean, it was locked. She had the angle, and she was going for everything, pulling the head down and trying to get the angle on her, and still, my competitor is still moving. Even gets put under a mounted triangle, and she was able to oopa and get back up on top. And this went on for about a minute and a half. I mean, this girl had it on, but she just couldn't make our girl tap because it wasn't deep enough, I guess. Anyway, the ref just watches it, and then he goes, and then as soon as the girl putting that's doing the triangle grabs her wrist and moves her arm back, right? It wasn't even in a point where there's any danger yet. She moves it back, and then the ref stops it right there. And then I look at him, I'm like, she didn't tap. And then as soon as the girl with the triangle lets go, then my competitor sits up and goes, I didn't tap, which she didn't. And the ref said, I go, why'd you stop it? He goes, oh, because she had her arm. I go, no, she didn't. She didn't tap. He goes, well, I was just protecting her. I go, from what? I mean, these are adult females. These aren't juveniles or kids. They're adults. And so, that was a big old thing. And, it was a wrong stoppage. Instead of him saying, you're right, I shouldn't have stopped it. And then at that point, what am I going to do, right? It's like, we all make mistakes, right? So just, admit your mistake. But he didn't. Instead, he said it's in the rule book. So I said, okay, what rule is that? He says, well, you should know it. And I go, well, I don't, right? So why don't you tell me the rule? And he says, well, you should know it. And I go, I know, I don't. But you're the ref. You know the rule book. So tell me what rule it is that made you stop the match. And he just ignored me after that, right? That's not cool. Just ignores me, right? Just says that's what it is. It's final. So, I end up getting the ref switched out, which he didn't like. But what am I going to do, right? It was a bad call. And when I did talk to him and his boss, the boss said, and I said, the boss said, well, not the boss, the ref said, well, she was going to lose anyway. I'm like, what? Right? What do you mean she's going to lose anyway? Well, she was losing by points. And I said, dude, I go, her sister, who's 6 months younger than her, so not old enough to go into the adult, so she's in the juvenile or youth or whatever they call it. She beat her girl, her opponent, with 1 second left on the clock, right? 1 second. She was losing by points, like 6-2 or something like that. But she submitted the other girl with 1 second left. So I told the guy, the points don't mean anything, right? I didn't say it in such a nice way, but I basically said the points didn't matter. And he says, yeah, well, she's going to lose. And I go, no, they don't matter. I go, the points only matter when time runs out. But time didn't run out and there was no submission. So admit it, you made a bad call. And he wouldn't. So, I walked off. I just said, forget you. And moved on, watching her subsequent matches. But, I was successful in getting him out of refereeing those matches that we were in. Talked to his boss later on, and I told him, look, we all make mistakes. We're all human. And I said, but if he had just simply acknowledged that he made a mistake, he stopped it too soon, right? Because he let that triangle get locked on him. If his rationale was completely correct, why did he let my competitor sit in a fully locked in triangle for a minute and a half? But as soon as the one with the triangle grabs my opponent's wrist and tries to put it back to set up, I presume, a Kimura, right? Why did he stop it right away? Doesn't make any sense. So, the boss told me, it'll never happen again. And I told him, look, I don't enter our students in one particular promotion because of this kind of stuff. And now I get it here. He says, no, I'm sorry. It's not going to happen again. So, I'll take him at his word and I'll see him at the next tournament. And, but basically it's just, that's one of the reasons why I don't like competition. But I do realize that it's a good tool for my students to engage in. It just stresses me out because, I've been around the block many times and I've seen a lot of what goes on. I've seen how it happens and how, it's kind of, I hate to say it, but, I wish I spoke Portuguese. I should have learned. My bad. But anyway, with regard to, Stir's question about where he can find a place, I don't know. And the reason is because, I travel around, and I've seen a lot of schools and I've taught at a lot of schools and I have a lot of friends and, who run their own schools. And the thing is, jiu-jitsu today is a sport because it's for a lot of people, a lot of school owners, their marketing is about wins. So they can put them on their website. We have wins in all these categories and all these belt levels. And, that's what they used to sell. Hey, you want to be a champion. I make a lot of champions. So here, take a look. And people go, oh yeah. Well, what happens is then it comes down to playing to the rules. So whatever the rules are for the individual competition, in fact, that girl that went up against my girl, the youth, 15 and a half year olds or whatever, her coach was telling her, just hold on. You're winning 6-2. Just hold on. While my girl is going for the submission. I mean, she was going for the choke. It didn't work. Swept her, went for an omoplata, didn't work. Went for a straight arm bar, didn't work. Went for a bow and arrow choke. Looked like it was going to work, but didn't. And finally, she switched and went to a straight arm bar from mount. And that worked, right? So, how many submission attempts did she go through when all the while the other girl is playing not to lose, right? Our girl was playing to win. And I tell all our competitors, and because in a fight, granted, this isn't a fight, it's a competition. But if you're just in the mode of not losing, you're gonna lose, right? Because time doesn't run out if you're in a long, protracted battle. And, you've seen in that other video about how women can, the jiu-jitsu helps women. It teaches them mental strength. It helps them be physically strong. It teaches them how to move and learn the concepts of jiu-jitsu where they can increase the odds in their favor. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to prevail all the time, but if you can delay it another 10 seconds, another 20 seconds, another 30 seconds, somebody can come to help you, or at least it gives more opportunity for somebody to come and help you, or give the perpetrator time to think about what's going on and it's not going the way he planned and he'll give up, right? But the self-defense school, Stir, again, sorry, I just keep jumping off here because I'm thinking of all other stuff, is very important. So like I said in some previous videos, you're just going to have to go in, ask the owner of the school, right? And try it out and see if you like it. Now, you may be able to, back in the past, you could take the name of the school and work with that, right? As an example, Halson Gracie, I trained under him. He's very self-defense minded, and I know that's what he preaches. But at the same time, he's got a lot of affiliates, and some of them are strong in self-defense, some of them less so. For the black belts to get their stripes on their belt, they're going to need to do self-defense. So Halson is really working on that. But at the end of the day, you're running a business and you have to do what you feel you need to do to bring revenue into your studio. So you might have some self-defense titled schools that are doing a lot of sport competition. And because you're getting ready for tournaments, meaning you're starting to play within the rule set, what's going to happen is your game is going to do that eventually. Right. Another one is Hoist Gracie. Hoist Gracie affiliates. I trained under Hoist for a period of time when I was at Gracie Torrance. Very self-defense minded. But same thing. You're not going to get Halson teaching you. You're not going to get Hoist teaching you. Right. So you're going to have to hope that their black belts are sticking to the thought process, the curriculum, whatever. Right. Pedro Sauer's another one. Another great master. And he's always been a self-defense guy, right? He's, Hicks and Gracie black belt along, with Dave and, stuff. So, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's an individual's business, and I went to one particular school. It wasn't any of these named ones, but, self-defense And I went there and they did zero self-defense, none whatsoever. No headlock escape, no grab, no hair pulls, no bear hugs, none of that kind of stuff. No thinking about this, if this could happen, where do your hands need to be? None of that stuff. It was just, all jiu-jitsu sport concepts, what happens if somebody gets you in a crucifix, right? Or how to set it up, it's like, okay, that's not going to happen in a fight, right? So Stir, all I can tell you is you're just going to have to go and check it out and try places out. Luckily for you, where you're in New York City, there's an abundance of places to go check out. It just means that, if you're trying to find a needle in a haystack, and that haystack being all the schools that are around you, you might have to just look for a while. And, but what that'll do is it'll give you more ideas on what you don't want. So anyway, go that route and see how it works. Another thing you can do is you can simply go onto Dave Kama's website, KAMAJujitsuOnline.com, sign up for his curriculum and his lessons, the methodology, and use that. Now, find a training partner, or, like I have students who come and see me here, who let's say they spend a week with me, spend a lot of money to come spend a week with me here so I can teach them our modules. I tell them, when you go back, you need to practice what we went over. Otherwise, you'll never get good at it, right? Even if your school's a sports school, that's fine. So let's say Module 1. Module 1 is all about escaping the mount class of positions. So, that would be UPA, hip escape, worst position, seat belt, right side, wrong side mount 1, 2, and 3, right? So we go over how to get you into all that, but when you go back home, you need to practice it. You need to reinforce what you learned. So when you go to your school, and let's say it's a sports school and they don't do things the way we do, but you want to do it our way, you're just going to have to let them have the position. You can't fight for it. You're only going to work on letting people get mounted on you, and you're going to escape the way you're supposed to escape. And you just got to do it over and over and over, just like we do in our studios, right? We could do a mount escape class, and, if you're a participant in the class, you might escape mount. Do a mount escape, under very, easy circumstances, progressively getting harder. And you might have to get out of a mount 50 to 100 times in a night, right? It's just repeated drilling over and over and over again under different scenarios. So you're going to have to do that on your own. So that might be another solution for you. If you can find a school, great. If you can't find a school, sign up at the place nearest you, get a curriculum like Kama Jiu-Jitsu Online, and religiously work on that curriculum if that's what you want to learn, if you want to learn what we do. Otherwise, go find a curriculum that you like and work on that curriculum while you're at the school. That's, you just need warm bodies to train with. So that's really my long 18-minute answer for you, and I apologize for it taking so long, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Anyway, come visit us, KamaJujitsuOnline.com. Come to one of our studios, Kama Jiu-Jitsu in Irvine, Dallas-Fort Worth, which is in Flower Mound, Texas, or Austin, which is in Austin, Texas. And like, subscribe. If you think this is helpful, please go ahead and share it. And if you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. And that's all I got for you. Take care. Happy training. Bye now.